Okay, well, we're back for part two of the body. We're dealing with the physical dimension, which is the first section here of sharpening the saw. Now, for this, you're going to need to take out your 7 Habits book. Got mine right here. You want to open this to where we left off last time, about page 211 will work. Now, when last we left off, I said that caring for your body is about something more than just how you look. It's about how you feel, how the nutrition, how the exercise, how all of these things make you feel. Because honestly, when it comes to looks, you've been lied to. Bad news, sorry. You've been lied to since you were a child, and you've believed the lie. Now the lie has become so commonplace that it doesn't even register with you anymore. And what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the human physical ideal that we have in this society. Picture, if you will, what you think the most handsome or beautiful person that you can imagine looks like, other than me. And that's the baby eating, by the way. That wasn't a timed. But imagine the most gorgeous person that you can. What you probably have in mind is what society defines as beautiful, specifically our Western American society in particular. This is not the same ideal as you go around throughout the world. As a matter of fact, this idea of having a chiseled body or being incredibly thin to look gorgeous, that's a new invention, like relatively new, like 20th century. I can probably figure out the exact decade in which this came about, and that would be the 1950s. Now, in the 50s, if you go and look at models that were, and actresses that were supposed to be these paragons of beauty, Marilyn Monroe, for example, who was not just a supermodel, she was considered to be one of the most gorgeous women of all time. She was not rail thin. So where did this idea come from in the 50s of you've got to be so skinny, you've got to be thin? Well, I present to you Exhibit A, Barbie. You see, in 1959, a woman by the name of Ruth Handler was working for a toy company called Mattel. They needed a new idea for a doll. Think about it, though. Up to that point in time, when girls would play with dolls, they would play with baby dolls. And they would pretend that they were mommy. They would look up to mom. They would look up to mother as the ideal. And don't you want to be like mom and the qualities that she represents? But Handler had been traveling through Europe, and on her way through Germany, she came across some dolls that were on display. And these were not children's playthings. These were decorative dolls. My grandmother used to collect dolls as a hobby, and I actually have seen several of these dolls. These were dolls of adult women, sometimes smoking, sometimes, maybe scantily clad or things like that. But it was the idea these were adult dolls for decoration only. They were not toys. But Handler got the idea, what if we made them into toys? What if we took these dolls and gave the children somebody else to emulate? Instead of them imprinting onto the doll, this pretending that this is my baby and I've got to take care of the baby because I'm pretending I'm mother. What if instead the children were to pretend that they were like the doll? Give them a new adult to pattern themselves upon. The doll itself, this adult woman who seems to be able to do anything and everything, who is fit and attractive and has anything you can imagine and does all these amazing jobs in the Malibu Barbie dream house, and look at the Jeep that she drives. She's an astronaut, she's a doctor, she's all these things. And don't you want to be like Barbie? Well, the problem is Barbie's measurements are not realistic. They're not even close. As a matter of fact, if Barbie in her current and they have changed this slightly, admittedly, but in her original 1959 measurements, if Barbie were made to be a real woman of average size, of average height, she would have major health issues. As a matter of fact, she would be grossly underweight to the point where she would suffer probably joint pain. She would be unable to menstruate. She would have issues probably with kidney function. Give me an idea of what I mean. If Barbie was a real human being in 1959 measurements, Barbie would have an 18-inch waist. An 18-inch waist. I have an 18.5-inch neck. Okay? Barbie's spine, abdominal muscles, guts would all have to fit in an area no bigger around than my neck. Now, that's pretty small. That is grossly small, to the point where that's incredibly unhealthy. Now, I get it. It's just a doll. But for years, little girls, that's what they played with. And that's what they emulated. That's where the marketing was, with these dolls. Now, men, I'm sorry, guys. Y'all have gotten a similar treatment. You may not think that you have. But what do guys play with? You don't play with dolls? No, we have action figures. And these action figures are really great fun. But again, they tout these unrealistic stereotypes. Many of them do. For example, look at Batman. Popular action figure. Going through the same sort of standard. If Batman were an average human male, we'll say about 6 feet in height, his body proportions would be so just incredibly out there, it would be hard for him to function. It'd be hard for him to walk, let alone jump from building to building to building. But these are what kids and even young adults look into. We the males especially will look to these action figures, these superheroes. I'm at home with the baby, so that's what you're hearing. He's got a little bit of a fuss. You okay? I have to check on the baby. I'll be right. Say hi to Jude, everybody. Hi, Jude. Hi, everybody. How's it going? But if we look... Now, once you get beyond dolls and, action figures, of course, that's when the lie about what the standard of beauty is, right? That's when that stops, right? Right? No, not even close. For the adolescents, what's big right now and what has been big since, I don't know, it started being created, comic books. Comic books are no stranger to this. Marvel kind of made a name for itself, especially in the 90s. A lot of comics groups did, by drawing these completely unrealistic figures. For men, what muscles should look like, and for women, what they look like at all. What I mean by this, let me give you some examples. I'm going to show you a piece of work by one Mr. Rob Liefeld. Rob Liefeld is considered a pretty big name in the comic book industry. Personally, I think he can be a little bit of a hack sometimes. He is the guy who created Cable. He created Deadpool and several others. But are you talking? Are you going to talk to everyone? What do you have to say? Jude would like me to tell you that he's having a good day. But Liefeld, I don't think he's actually ever seen a woman. I think that one day somebody described a woman to him like through a keyhole, and he drew what he thought one was supposed to be. You look at this and you see for yourself.
What is this?
That's not a woman. That's the letter S. I feel like I'm on the most messed up version of Sesame Street you could possibly imagine, except it's human anatomy. That's not how spines work, Robert. And that's not the only example. I mean, his work is rife with stuff like this. I mean,
What is my life?
You look at that and you tell me that that's not the worm from Men in Black. And Liefeld, he can't, not only can he not draw feet, that's why they're always cut off at the bottom. He puts pouches on everything. Pouches here, pouch, 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 pouch. Everybody's got pouches. Pouches everywhere. Everything's pouches. And then knife blades, because why not? And everybody's face always has to look like that. Knife blades everywhere. That's why that one had, why not knife boobs? Hey, do you ever think you'd live to see the point in your life where you'd see knife boobs? I didn't. And that's not all. That's far from all.
Bruh.
What even is that supposed to be? What is this? What is it? That is not a woman. That is a granddaddy Longlegs in Ugg boots. I mean, can you honestly, can you imagine you're hanging out in the club and this thing just spiders its way on over to you? Hey, what you drinking? I would scream like a little girl. That is terrifying. That is her legs are longer than the rest of the body. Humans don't look like this. Humans don't operate like this. Do you have my 7 Habits book? Jude, that's Daddy's book. But when you are I mean, it's one thing for us to make fun of it. But when you are an adolescent, when you are a young person, like just coming into puberty, and you have never really paid attention to the opposite sex before all that much, or same sexes, whatever the case may be, you are going to walk away from that with a really messed up idea of what human anatomy is supposed to be, and that's not it. That's not even close to it. I don't even know what that is. That is some, oh my gosh, that's some good old Natasha nightmare fuel right there is what that is. But we get these unrealistic expectations of what the male form is, with just, muscles on top of muscles, and what the female form is, which apparently has cartilage in the place where a spine should be. And then luckily though, we come into adulthood and the lie is over, right? You're not lied about what the human form is when you're an adult, tongue-tied, right? Of course, we see these fake views of beauty, magazines, newspapers, movies, TV shows. It's easier now to make somebody look pretty than it has ever been. I mean, because now there's digital editing, where before it used to take airbrushing and things like that. Now it's easy. I mean, I've seen countless cases of this happen, and you've seen it too without realizing it. I'm going to put a couple of links in the on the computer there. I'm going to put a couple of links in the Google Classroom page about showing you how easy it is to really kind of twist some of these beauty standards. Let me clarify also one thing. I'm not somebody who is on the whole body positivity bandwagon either. You know, body positivity is this movement that says, hey, you should be proud of your body. Okay, yeah, I'll go in with you on that. Hey, your body is wonderful. You're great the way you are. Okay, I'll buy into that for the most part. And you're healthy at any size. Are you though? Are you though? The answer is no. You're not healthy at any size. I'm not saying that, hey, beauty standards are fake, so you should just do whatever you want with your body. There is, like we talked about in the previous lesson, previous part of this lesson, there is a healthful way to live. There's a balance to be had. And going to one extreme or the other is not healthy. Again, balance and moderation in all things. And when it comes to media, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. And instead of trying to be somebody that you're not, or trying to be like the next supermodel or the people that you see at the checkout counter there on the magazines, telling you can look like this person, yeah, with a little Photoshop, I guess. Instead of that, try to be you. Try to be the best you that you can be. Judy Garland, the actress who played Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. Love me some Wizard of Oz. She once said something that I thought was very intelligent. She said, always try to be a first-rate version of yourself instead of a second-rate version of somebody else. We're going to stop right there. There's coming one more part to our study of the body, and I'll see you then. Till next time.
I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me. Girl, you just don't realize what you do to me.